If you see a game called Fate on the Nintendo eStore, do not download it. I've always been a slight gamer. I've never really been into fighting games or first-person POV, but a good RPG or calming game I've always adored. Ever since I got my first Nintendo DS, I've been hooked. The Zelda games, Animal Crossing, Red Dead Redemption, Skyrim, Sims, the usual classics. It was a few days after Christmas and I was browsing the Nintendo eStore when I found a strangely unique-looking game called Fate. It caught my attention because of the simplicity of the graphics and the ambiguity of the plot. I was intrigued and it was free. I was fascinated, downloaded it and started playing. Initially seemed simple enough. You got to create your own avatar and go about daily mundane tasks. As the plot progressed, there were a few uncanny similarities to my own life. Conversations I'd had with friends played back on my screen days later. I created a strange sense of déjà vu, but not in a way that was unnerving. It only started to ring some alarm bells when I was let go from my job. It wasn't too surprising we hadn't been approved for a grant that funded my position. I wasn't too devastated, but lo and behold, when I loaded up the game later that evening, my character got let go for the same reason. Almost line for line from my earlier conversation. As I kept playing, the similarities became undeniable. The pixelated landscapes unfolded with an uncanny familiarity, mirroring the rooms and streets I traversed daily. Characters in the game bore the faces of people from my own life, and as I advanced through the levels, a disconcerting realization gripped me: the game was an eerie reflection of my existence. The virtual narrative began to unravel with a foreboding precision that left me breathless. Scenes from my past played out on the screen, and whispers of a future yet to unfold reached me through the pixelated haze. It was as if the game held a sinister clairvoyance, predicting my destiny with an accuracy that bordered on the supernatural. As I navigated through the digital labyrinth, the mirror of fate revealed glimpses of pivotal moments from my life. Choices I had made, relationships that had shaped me, and decisions that loomed in the horizon, all unfolded in haunting detail. The game was an interactive oracle, challenging me to confront the echoes of my past and the shadows of a future that lay in wait. I didn't want to keep playing, but I felt like I had to. After all, the game hadn't predicted anything sinister, and curiosity always seems to get the best of me. It almost started to feel like a friend to me. I settled into the idea that this must be some sort of supernatural blessing when, during the gameplay, I got offered my dream job. Not even a week later, I received an offer in my email for that exact position. This continued on, mirroring relationships I go on to have, forewarning me of subway closures and potential illnesses. Reminders to call loved ones, and honestly, my relationships writhing. My work life, personal, and family were flourishing, thanks to this game. All continued on for the better for months until one evening. I was relaxing watching Bob's Burgers playing my game. When in the game, I noticed myself getting followed on my usual route home. The screen indicated, "Danger nearby." I tried to figure out what that meant when the notice started flashing more consistently. Using my Joy-Cons, I scrolled around, shifting the POV to see if I sensed any imminent threat. That's when I noticed on the game about 15 feet behind me was this large, foreboding silhouette. My stomach sunk and I immediately shut off the game, resigning to the idea that it must be something strange with the programming. I almost stayed home from work the next day, but dismissed myself as being silly and too anxious. I got off the subway and began my usual walk home when I felt the most sinking feeling of being followed. I took a deep breath and turned to look behind me. Nothing. I laughed to myself, realizing I'd let the digital world bleed over a bit too much into my daily life. Nevertheless, the game had this hold on me, and a bit later in the evening I poured myself a glass of wine and started playing again. Again, I was being followed by this ominous figure. Rather than turning the game off, I decided to press on to see what it could be. As quickly as the figure was behind me, it passed, and I laughed to myself as this boogeyman ended up being just a very large man shuffling past me in the game. Literally nothing scary at all. I felt silly for having psyched myself out so much. I continued with the game and took myself home on it. I was doing my daily tasks on the game when the power went out on it, leaving my avatar in my digital apartment in a blanket of darkness. My own anxiety spiked again, and I tried to laugh it off, but then in the game, while taking my avatar to the breaker box, I saw the closet in the hallway creak open, and I watched on in horror as something stepped out of the closet and start to sneak its way down the hallway to where my character stood tinkering with the breaker box. Morbid curiosity got the best of me, and I watched as my avatar was snuck up on and ambushed, and before I knew it, two other large men rushed out of the closet, and I watched a scene from a horror movie unfurl. They did things you read in true crime stories to my avatar and left me there dead on the ground after doing the worst things you can do to a person. My avatar laid mangled and bleeding out. As the game concluded its climax, the screen flickered once more, plunging the room and the real world into darkness. The chilling silence was broken only by a distant, echoing sound that seemed to reverberate from the digital world into reality. The controller trembled in my hands as I sat there, paralyzed by the harrowing revelation that the game had not only predicted my death but had orchestrated a nightmare that transcended the boundaries of the screen. I'm sitting on my couch paralyzed with fear. I don't think anything will happen to me tonight, considering in real life I never saw the giant man shuffle by me in real life yet, but the future seems inevitable. I don't know what to do. I can't barricade myself in my apartment forever. Should I move? Should I go stay with my parents? Should I tell someone? I think everyone will think I'm crazy because when my Nintendo Switch rebooted, I can't find the game anywhere, not on my downloaded games or on the eShop. I don't know what to do, but it's only a matter of time before I have to inevitably make a decision. What do I do? I'm so scared.